So as the year is coming to a close, of course, all of us YouTubers here are kind of compiling our lists for the favorite films of the year. And I knew that I had to wait to watch Roma before I could begin to take that properly seriously, because this is probably going to be on that list. That was how excited I was for the film, and let's just say it did not disappoint. Roma, of course, is directed by Alfonso Cuarón, who is one of the most highly regarded and prestigious directors working today. And so that alone made me super excited for the film. But then you add the fact that this is such a personal story to him, the fact that it's shot in black and white, he himself is the cinematographer and all that, just makes it so much more of a passion project and so much more exciting to watch. And after having seen Roma, I would say that this is going to be the type of film that in 30, 40 years time, people are going to watch, not necessarily because they want to watch it, but because you're watching it just so you can say, I've seen Roma. And the biggest compliment that I could give to this film is that it reminds me why I love films. And there's one of these every year. Last year it was Blade Runner, the year before it was La La Land. And both of those films ended up being my favorite film of the year. I don't know if Roma is necessarily my favorite of the year. I feel like I need to rewatch it one more time. But it is certainly the most filmy film of the year. Everyone has been saying that Roma is cinema at its best and in its purest form and all the rest of it. And I certainly agree. I think that this is the film of the year. Not necessarily the best event, not necessarily the best experience, but it is certainly one of, if not the definitive film of the year. I would say that Alfonso Cuarón's approach to the storytelling of this film reminded me a lot of Terrence Malick's first two films, Badlands and Days of Heaven. Now, I've said it once or twice on this channel, but I really like Terrence Malick's first two films. Thin Red Line, I think it's alright. The rest of his films I absolutely despise, but Roma is actually very similar to his first two films in that they move at this incredibly patient and relaxed pace, but at the same time, they still maintain that sense of excitement, that sense of urgency, and they still kind of command your attention. And part of why I think that works is through the camera work, through the cinematography. This is without a doubt one of the best looking films of the year. It's up there with Isle of Dogs and Buster Scruggs for me. I think it's one of the best looking black and white films of all time. It doesn't necessarily have like a classic black and white movie feel. It definitely has a much more modern sort of color corrected, sort of polished look to it, which I think was very intentional. Cuarón himself said that he wanted it to be like modern audiences looking back at the past, which is such a beautiful description of it. The camera work is just so damn unique. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. I think the best way for me to describe it is that the camera feels like it glides across these locations, and it makes the locations and the events that are happening feel a lot more genuine. Also, Cuarón's use of the long take in this film is nothing short of amazing. It's used in so many different cool ways, and it actually kind of gives me a lot of confidence to go with the long takes, because if you've seen my short film that I made over the summer, then you know that I use a lot of really long takes in that film. And a lot of the people around me was like, you know, you need to cut it, you need to cut it, you need to cut it. But just watching Cuarón and his mastery of the long take, it's really inspired me and kind of showed me that maybe I wasn't completely wrong to have all those long takes in the film. Obviously, I'm not saying I'm Alfonso Cuarón, but it is quite inspiring to me as a filmmaker. Also, going back to the black and white, I am now more desperate than ever to find some way to integrate black and white into my next short film. I really want to do that now. This film was really inspiring to me, both as a film watcher and a filmmaker. Now, I was watching Mark Kermode's review of this film a couple of weeks ago, and one of the points that he brought up was that he was so impressed by the incredible technical filmmaking on display that he sometimes was distracted by it and forgot about the story. And I would say that I agree. I think that going in, I was kind of expecting this film to be, if we're comparing it to other sort of Best Picture Oscar nominees of the past, I was kind of expecting to see something sort of like a Lady Bird or a Manchester by the Sea. Very, very simple, no-nonsense filmmaking. Just kind of put the camera there and let the actors act. You know, there's nothing too fancy about the filmmaking. But what I got from Roma was a much more filmmaker-driven Arrival, Dunkirk kind of film. Essentially a film that very, very few people could make. Now, this is not a Dunkirk. It is a very, very character-focused film. But I did feel at some points that I was so in awe of the filmmaking that I did kind of forget and lose investment in the story and the characters. I would say that that is my only complaint with the film. But it's not even a complaint, because it's basically saying that the filmmaking is so good that I kind of forgot about some of the other stuff. So I would definitely say that Roma is one of the most inspiring films for me this year. It's one of my favorites. I wish that I was slightly more invested in the characters and in the story and felt a little bit more emotional, like I did with Manchester by the Sea and Lady Bird. But Roma is certainly one of the best pieces of filmmaking this year. It has inspired me so much as a filmmaker, and like I said, it has reminded me why I love films. Grade-wise, yeah, this is an A+. I mean, come on, this is such a personal film. No film this year means more to one individual than Roma does to Alfonso Cuarón. So yeah, I love this film. Please stay tuned to see where it ranks on my best of the year list, which will be coming out within the next week, definitely before 2019. I'm currently working very hard on my end of year movie mashup. I'm nearly finished with that, should be coming out within the next few days, 4 or 5 days. I'll be reviewing Aquaman straight after this, and maybe I'll post that tomorrow. But thank you very much, guys, for watching. Thank you.